V-Rally 2. V-Rally in general is a series we'll probably talk more about as we continue on here, but V-Rally 2 was a game I had as a kid. I had both V-Rallys when I was very, very young. I didn't have a memory card, so V-Rally was perfect because there wasn't really a lot to need a memory card for, but I will honestly say I never really properly played it. I was too young. I think I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. But this and Gran Turismo 2 were my main games. I did have the Colin McRae games, don't get me wrong. They were a big part of my life growing up. Mainly in the PS2 era for me though. I did have the PS1 versions, but the PS2 era really was whenever Colin McRae took off for me. And in contrast, V-Rally was my PS1 era rally game, and I didn't really play it on PS2. That might be because there was only one for PS2 and it was a total and utter flop. I enjoyed it, but it is what it is. So we're going to play the Dreamcast version, which is why this looks way better than the PS1 version ever did. It's much smoother. Like, I haven't upscaled it or anything. This is just how the Dreamcast version of the game looked. So for tonight, gonna play through it, gonna mess around, play with some of the 90s kit cars. As you can see, probably my favourite rally car of all time is here on screen, the Renault Megane Maxi. I don't really know why it's my favourite. It and the Impreza are tied, I have to say. One thing I absolutely adored about V-Rally 2, and what I did probably more than anything else, to be honest, on this game, was on the menu screen. So you would go through the different cars, and to be fair, for the time, the loading was damn quick. But this loading screen or menu screen that you're seeing here is actually interactive. So you could, oh, that's loud. You could go straight into the menu screen or straight into like the background and do a rally. Like, you could test the car out, see if you liked it. Strange there's no heads up display, although it's V-Rally, so you really need a heads up display. But you could just go straight into that and press start, and away back you are. Like, that's one of the coolest things ever. It reminds me of the original, well, I didn't have the original, so I don't know, but the second Assassin's Creed game. The only Assassin's Creed game I played. Didn't even finish it. I really enjoyed it, was really into it, and didn't finish it, and then didn't play any others, go figure. But and when the game was loading, you could run about and just fuck around and practice moves and stuff. I always thought that was very cool. Cool way to keep things interesting. Of course, nowadays they just do those like hidden, like disguised loading screens. Tomb Raider 2013 is a real criminal for this one, where you're climbing through a tight space and it like takes ages to get through that tight space, and really the game's actually loading the next level in the background. Tricks of the trade, I guess. Of course, this being a 1998 game, all of the icons are here. So you've got your kit cars, the 2-litre kit cars, which on tarmac stages were just as fast as the rally cars. Let's remember the 4-wheel drive cars. Let's remember. You got your Maxi Megane. You got the not going to talk about that. You got the Peugeot 306 Maxi, which everybody now remembers more than the Megane, which is really sad. I know the 306 was probably the more successful car, and Renault had the Clio and the Megane, so it's kind of unfair. I can see why people didn't pick one, but Peugeot always used the 306 in the kit car class. But very, very cool, of course. Citroen Zara. I was always a fan of the Zara. I didn't really care for it as a WRC car, but I always thought the kit car was cool. I would rather have had a Saxo though. And the relatively forgotten about Seat Ibiza. Now, this was the cover car for Mobile 1 Rally Championship, which is kind of where it's got a little bit of fame from again. People have started to remember it because the Gravel crew just constantly talked about it, which is cool. And then once you've done that, you can go into the 1.6 litre kit cars, which is even smaller again, which I forgot about. And I probably wouldn't have mentioned the Saxo if I knew it was here as well. So yeah, here you got your Saxo, you got the 106, which is the 306's baby brother, and then you got the Nissan Micra, and I think that is one of the coolest liveries. Now, I think they had the livery on this, and they had it on the Almera, I think, and I think they had it on the Pulsar. I don't know what this whole tic-tacs rectangles thing was about that Nissan was doing, and I think it was only on the British rally cars that they did at the time, but I always really, really liked it. I always thought it was very cool. And then you have got the ever popular World Rally cars. So we got the Mitsubishi Lancer. I think that is the, if it's a 98, then that would be the Evo Is that a 6? No, I think that's a 5 because it's got the longer bits on the boot. And then we got the Corolla. Fun fact about the Corolla, which not many people, well, people in the rallying probably know, but that livery, they would change the design for different rallies to match the theme of the rally they're at. Like the Safari rally had like animals on the side or something like that, and then the cliche, or the standard one, had that tribal sort of pattern. I always thought that was pretty cool. Then we have the baby. We got the Impreza WRC, which in 98 in this guy's, although that's the 99 livery, so now I'm confused, quite frankly, because the 98 livery had the censored 555. The 99 livery had the stars on the side, so I don't really know what the crack is there. If it's a 99, that would be a Richard Burns car, because Colin McRae would have already went to Ford by then. Speaking of, there's the Focus. That was the cover car for Colin McRae Rally 2.0. Then the Seat Cordoba. Now, I'll be honest, I always forget about this one. Kind of forget it exists all the time. But the Cordoba, I'm trying to think what that was based off of. Was that surely not the same as a Bora? Look, I don't think a Cordoba was just a longer Ibiza. I'm not really sure what that would have been based on. Skoda Octavia, now that would be based on the Passat, I think, isn't it? No. Shit, my knowledge of 90s VAG is escaping me right now. Peugeot 206, that's the best livery for the 206, don't care what anyone says. That's the iconic one to me. Hyundai Coupe. I thought that only came as a front wheel drive rally car, so there you are. That, I think, was a much better looking car than the facelift one that came after it. The facelift one after that, I think, had the 4 round lights, or was that the one before that? Not really sure. Hyundai, don't really care. Corolla Brundle. I'm guessing that's Martin Brundle? Was he a rally driver? I think he was a rally driver. And then back to the Lancer. So, because I don't really know how this game actually progresses, we'll just go to confirm. Okay, game modes. We got V-Rally Trophy, Championship, Arcade, Time Trial. V-Rally Trophy. Now, something about V-Rally that set it apart from Colin McRae, I suppose, was that this was a rally game that had multiple cars on the track. So it was kind of almost like Rally Cross in a way. You would have had a rally circuit and you'd have raced around with other cars on track. Whereas with Colin McRae Rally, it was only your typical ghost. You were racing the clock, which is what the championship mode is on this. Let's try V-Rally Trophy just for the sake of getting into it. So, it also had a track editor, which I think was very cool. We'll have a mess around with that later on. Just noticing as well, that Focus in the background, they have got Grist and McRae sort of blurred out just enough that you can't tell that it's McRae and Grist, because obviously Codemasters had the rights to Colin McRae's name, which is why if you get the early WRC games, which were on the PS2, Colin McRae's name wasn't there. Fun fact for you. They would have just had like Scottish driver or rally champion or something like that. Don't know what alternate play is. Oh, I think that's for if you are playing with friends, which wouldn't know anything about that. You could do a time trial, hand the controller to somebody else, and then they would go and hand the controller to somebody else. So if you didn't have a multi-tap back in the day, which was the boy that let you plug 4 controllers into one. So yeah, let's give it a try. Oh, that's very high res for the time. So my main memory of this game is the fact that you are off the limiter like constantly. Like the engine sounds are actually kind of annoying because all you're hearing is ba 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 ba. It's like, Jesus Christ, settle down. There's also a pet peeve is racing games that don't let you look behind you when you're driving. I hate that. I have this weird thing when I'm playing racing games where I will constantly look behind me, and I don't really know why. I think it's because I'm afraid of... Great piece of driving. I think it's because I'm afraid of hitting people, because I would have... My racing game career, I suppose... Seriously. Anyway, a lot of my racing game career would have been spent playing online, and I was terrified of hitting people. So I would always be constantly looking around me and making sure I wasn't hitting anything, to the point where, like, when I'm playing licenses and things on the... Oh, okay, that was on me. When I'm doing licenses and things on Gran Turismo and stuff, I'm constantly looking behind me, and it's like, it's a license. There's nobody there. And if there is somebody there, you've overtaken the Skyline pace car, and you're going to fail. There's a lot of gutters on the edge of the track. You could definitely do an initial D very handy on this. Okay, stood in there. Congratulations, you finished first. Fun fact about this, it's made by Eden Games, who who don't really exist anymore, I don't think. They went on to form some other studio and then made some other games, but I can't bloody remember what. But they did one of the greatest games of all time, Test Drive Unlimited. Fun fact. Okay, so back to that point. Did rally games become shit because rallying became a bit shit? I don't know if rallying... I think... It's hard to tell. Now, everybody loves looking back on things that happened in the past and nostalging them and overhyping them and all the rest. And I don't think rallying became shit as such. I think rallying is still great. It's one of the greatest, in fact, if not the, it's one of the greatest motorsports ever. Because one slip, I guess you could say that about any motorsports, but it's probably one of the only motorsports where one slip could put you in the back of somebody's fucking house when they're trying to do the dishes or something, and all of a sudden there's a fucking rally car just crashing into the back of your house. But I think what happened with rallying is that rallying got too expensive and not enough manufacturers were in it anymore. I mean, you look at this, how many rally cars were in that top class there? You had Subaru, you had Toyota, you had Mitsubishi, you had Ford, you had Seat, you had Skoda. You had two VAG group products in one rally class. That tells you how peak this shit was at the time for Volkswagen to be competing against themselves. The only time really they do that is Le Mans, when they had Audi and Porsche, and then they took Audi away because Porsche wanted to come back and they said, well, there's no point in having two VAG ones there. So the fact they were doing that at the time says that rallying was a massive deal then, or that rallying was cheap enough to get into, because now obviously it's a lot more expensive. Insurance and things probably cost a lot more, but the development for these hyper complicated craziness machines that are going about now could be a reason why it's so expensive. So the reason rallying's a little bit shit now is because I don't think you have the names you don't have the household names that you used to have. If you told a random person a name of a rally driver today, probably wouldn't have a clue. But you could say to a lot of people, whether they're into cars or not, they could have no idea about cars. You could say the name Colin McRae and they'll know who that is. But that could be a result of racing games and actually being more household, but it's, it's still true. So yeah, this is another genre of game that is... We talked about this last week when we played Burnout. This is another genre of game that's basically gone. Now, I don't mean rally games in general, because you do have the likes of the EA Sports WRC, which is basically the latest dirt. I'm trying to drive with one hand while scratching my face. But there's no arcadey sort of rally games. It's kind of just you get the main thing and that's it. V-Rally was always like an arcadey sort of rally game. Then you had Richard Burns. Well, Richard Burns Rally was a real sim. Shocks was a game that most of you probably don't remember. It was very unheard of. It was like an arcadey sort of rally game. Then you had Rally Fusion as well. That was another PS2 sort of arcadey rally game. They're all gone now. There's so many rally games are just gone. Now you just get, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you get like indie rally games. Like people trying to recapture this sort of style. Like for Sega Rally. One of the biggest, most well-known rally games of them all, other than Colin McRae Rally, was Sega Rally, and there hasn't been one of them since 2006. Although I kind of think Sega's given up on their... Like, I should give up. I think Sega's kind of given up on their whole racing game thing, which is sad, because Sega has some of the most iconic racing games ever. They had Outrun, they had Sega Rally, they had Daytona USA. They haven't done anything with those IPs since they did re-releases on the Xbox 360, and then Sega Rally Revo came out in 2006. But that's it. There's just, nobody does them anymore. It's really sad. Then, like, just arcadey racing games in general, there's not really many anymore. You had so many iconic names back in the day for racing games, and where are they now? They're all gone. The track variety is class. I mean, I guess that's the nature of having a rally game. The whole point is that you're around the world, like, but these all really feel like good separate tracks. Like for me, usually any snow track just feels like Sweden, but this one doesn't give me the Swedish vibes. It's a good mixture of rock and snow. So V-Rally had 4 full installments. Now the early ones have always confused me. So you had V-Rally, right? And then in the US, it was released as a Need for Speed game, but it was called Need for Speed V-Rally. Which, what? And then they did 2 games on the PS1 era, and then the next generation they did V-Rally 3, which was a flop. And then it was just dead for nearly 20 years, actually. I think it was maybe like 16, 17 years. And then V-Rally 4 came out in 2018. Now, I was really excited for V-Rally 4, and I thought it was a really good game. Now, I might have just been thinking that because the Rhythm McGann was in it and hadn't been in the game for a very, very long time, but I thought it was a great game, and everybody panned it, and nobody bought it. And that's a real shame. The thing is, as I said earlier, there were no other rally games, and then they released that and nobody bought it anyway, and it's like, well lads, if you want more of them, you gotta bloody buy them. Some night I'll play V-Rally 4. I must buy it on the Steam Deck actually before they get rid of it. Congratulations, you've collected the European trophy. You now have access to the World Trophy as a reward for your... Okay, so punctuation doesn't exist to Eden Games apparently. As a reward for your performance, you can now select this new car from the bonus car category, the Lancia Stratos. That's cool as fuck. So the aforementioned test car feature, I'm going to do that again with the Stratos because holy shit. Oh, there's quite a few. Oh shit. Neat. I wonder, does this sound like a swarm of angry hornets, or does this actually sound like a Lancia V6? Sorry, Ferrari V6. The dash is different, that's cool. There's no rev counter. Doesn't really sound anything like a Lancia V6, does it? But it's cool though, it's licensed. They spent the money, they got Alitalia on it and everything. So many others didn't bother their hoes getting that put on it. Track. What are we going to call it? We will call it Laguna. Not Seca, but I'm looking at a Renault Laguna model right now, so we'll just call it Laguna. Oh, okay. I haven't done this in a very, very long time. This reminds me of the old PS1. Like, remember the PS1 memory card screen? For some reason, this is like a weird mix of the PS2 memory card screen and the PS1 memory card screen. Oh, cool. Okay, so you can change the country, so that obviously changes the whole look of it. We'll go for England. Come on, England! Okay. Length, let's go for medium. Oh, okay, that might have been why. Because I had the length set to really short. Bends, let's go for... there. And I had like a very fast track. Generate. I didn't want an oval. We'll go for tight. Right, that's a bit better. Generate elevations. So let's have some high elevations with loads of small bumps. This is actually very like... this is in depth for the time. For like an add-on, really. Change weather. We'll have it sunset. So bend modes. Does this mean then I can go around and actually change things now? It does. Look at this, boys. Holy fuck. Look at that. Elevations mode. Make that pure fucking... holy shit. That's class, boys. Big mad downhill. And then a wee sharp one. This is really in depth. You're bound to be able to... be able to recreate some roads. like that you know in real life with this, like, or at least a rough idea, like, because that's fucking cool. Aye, let's have that be like fucking Pikes Peak over here. Per Stratos isn't gonna have the power to get up this. Right, let's try this. Oh, and that's cool. That's the layout of the track. This is mad. I don't know how I never did this. Fortunately, there's no maps. So you can't really see anything. So I'm expecting just to be flying around and then all of a sudden a massive uphill. This is class. Why don't more games have this? I know the draw distance is a bit terrible, but you know, I mean, definitely need a longer ratio gearbox, but like that is incredible. And so easy to do. There's me having made a track in no time. Oh, okay, we're dead. Change car. Neat. Doesn't really sound like a boxer, although the Impreza WRC didn't have uneven headers, so it never really sounded amazing anyway. The way the camera moves on the interior cam, like the amount of rocking on the side to side and all, like that's actually really good for the time and probably for now. So that's been V-Rally 2. What a game. I don't remember it playing as well as that, to be honest. Now, it probably helps that was the Dreamcast version and not the PS1 version, but it played remarkably well tonight. That was enjoyable, like. But I just want to thank you all very, very much for tuning in this week. It means a lot whenever you tune in. It's so much fun. Honestly, so much fucking fun. It's great forcing myself to try and play these games I haven't played in years. I say forcing myself, but it's nice to have a reason, is a better way to put it, I guess. Basically, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Go and check out the gaming channel, and if you aren't already in the Discord, go check out the Discord, because Mr. Telcontar here is doing his best to inform the world about so many cool things. So yeah, as always, I've been Tomo. This has been 427 Motorsports, and you guys have been the best. I will see you same time next week, same place, playing something else. I picked this out of my hole tonight. I'll probably pick one out of my hole next week. Who knows? So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.